Welcome to this video on excursion from Beyond Premiere, and today we're going back into Silo's latest episode, which I was so surprised that they released the episode 2 days before. But in this video we're breaking down that intense ending with the huge revelations about Solo's backstory. This episode is definitely going to be a game-changing for what's to come. So welcome and let's begin. Okay, so that final scene where Solo finally emerged from his vault is packed with meaning. After spending years alone, traumatized by what happened in Silo 17, he made this massive breakthrough by not just talking to Juliette, but actually coming out and connecting with another human being. The big reveal, Solo explains how everything fell apart in Silo 17. It all started with Ron Tucker, a cleaner who refused to clean and instead wrote lies on the camera lens. When people didn't see him die immediately, they thought maybe, just maybe, the outside world was actually safe. This sparked a chain reaction that led to Max's exodus and ultimately the death of everyone in the silo except Solo, who was ordered by Russell, the head of IT, to never leave the vault. I mean, watching Solo and Juliette share this quiet moment at the end with him finally be able to reach out and touch another person, confirming again that she's real, is honestly heartbreaking and beautiful at the same time. Because as we know, this is not just a story about survival, it's about human connection and breaking through years of isolation and trauma. So here's where things get intense. Juliette noticed something really unsettling about the bodies in the hallway near his vault. Unlike the bodies at the silo entrance that died during the Max Exodus, this one looks fresh, more recent. And when she confronts Solo about it, his reaction tells us everything. He completely shuts down, closes the eyes lid, and refuses to engage. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. We learn through clues that Solo has somehow been surviving alone in this silo for years. He's got food, he's maintained his post as the bold protector, but those bodies, they tell a different story. The show heavily implies that Solo may have had to make some impossible choices to survive. Let's break down what this means. Solo is not just traumatized but from watching his silo die. He's carrying the weight of whatever happened with those people in the hallway. The fact that he gives Juliette food and tests if she's real by watching her eat, it suggests he's deeply affected by these past encounters. And the brilliance of Steve's performance here is how he conveys all his trauma without stating what happened. The way he flinches when Juliette mentions the bodies, how he hides in his vault, is just incredible. So the question that we have is, what do you think happened with those bodies in the hallway? Drop your theories in the comments below. Now, speaking of shocking revelations, let's talk about the tragic death scene in Mechanical that's going to have massive ripple effects throughout the silo. In an absolutely gut-wrenching sequence, we witness Cooper's death during what was supposed to be a protest to free Teddy. So what went down? While Shirley and her crew were dealing with Knox and Hank outside the deputy station, Patrick, who we know who was manipulated by Robert, throws a firebomb. But here's where it gets devastating. When Cooper tries to stop Patrick, a bullet meant for Patrick hits them both. The look on Shirley and Knox's faces as Cooper dies in their arms, absolutely heartbreaking. But here's why this moment is so crucial for the story. It unites Shirley and Knox in grief. Two characters have been at odds with everything. Robert's manipulation becomes even more sinister. He basically orchestrated this whole tragedy. This could be the beginning that pushes the Down Deep into a full-scale rebellion and Mechanical. Now, the brilliant thing about this scene is how it mirrors what we learn about Silo 17 collapse. One act of defiance leading to escalating violence. I mean, the parallels here are just chef's kiss. And let's talk about that incredible scene between Shirley and Knox when she's punching the wall in grief and Knox offers himself as target. That was so funny and it's really powerful. And now we need to talk about Judge and Bernard in tense confrontation, because this scene is filled with tension. As we know, we can see the power dynamics here are absolutely fascinating. The Judge is really starting to see through Bernard's manipulations, and she's not backing down. Here's what happens. Bernard comes to take her measurements for the suit, claiming it's all part of the plan for her to go outside. But she's playing for the chess here. She straight up calls Bernard about what happened with Juliette, stating what we all been thinking, that he's lying and that Julia never actually asked to go outside, going from the information that was provided to her. Now you can literally feel Bernard holding under her questions, and when she tells him not to come down without her suit, this is the beginning of that fight. And what's really got me worried here is Meadows might be playing a dangerous game. Remember what happened to the last people who started questioning Bernard too openly? So key moments to watch for in the upcoming episodes is Bernard's subtle reaction when she mentions the firebombing, the way he dodges her direct questions about Juliette, that moment when he's measuring her for the suit. So a lot of major red flags and what's gonna happen with her. I mean, we can see the parallels between this situation and what we learn about Silo 17 are getting stronger and stronger. I cannot help but wonder if she's heading down a similar path as those who started asking too many questions. Now, moving back to Solo, because here's what we know. Solo was ordered by Russell, the head of IT, to guard this vault and never ever let anyone inside. But why? What's so important that it needs to be protected even after everyone else in the silo is gone? I mean, let's break down the clues. Solo was specially chosen as Russell's shadow in IT. He's been faithfully guarding his vault even after everyone died. The order is absolute. Don't, no matter what, never let anyone in the vault ever. But why? Well, remember how Juliette discovered that hard drive with the cleaning footage back in her silo? What if there's something similar but even more explosive behind that door? The way Solo completely shuts down whenever Juliette gets too close to asking about it. There's definitely something major he's protecting and guiding. I mean, given what we know about the silo system and all the secrets being kept from the residents, I'm betting that information in this vault contains some serious bombs about other silos and the reality of this world. Now, another scene in this episode, and that is Dr. Nichols and that powerful action when he, in a way, closes out the episode. So this scene is subtle but absolutely massive for what it means for the silo. So what goes down? Dr. Nichols meets with a woman who she thinks she's getting the birth control removed as part of the birth lottery. But as we know that it's a fake removal, they pretend to remove it, but actually keep it in. That's how the powers that control the population in the silo. But Dr. Nichols does something different. He actually removed the birth control. For real, no fake out, no deception. It's not just about this woman's chance to have a child. It's about taking back control from a system built on lies. But Dr. Nichols is choosing reality, choosing life, even if it means going against the system. And hey, it's not that exactly what his daughter Juliette has been fighting for. So the symbolism here is just again Chef's kiss. While Bernard and the leadership are focused on control and deception, Dr. Nichols is literally enabling new life to enter the silo. Is hope versus control, truth versus lies. It's all wrapped up in this one powerful move. And that brings us to the most powerful moments of the episode. Solo's breakthrough with Juliette. After spending years in self-imposed isolation, we watch him take those first terrifying steps across the makeshift bridge that she did. What makes this scene so powerful and incredible is the raw vulnerability. When Solo first emerged from the vault, he's literally shaking but absolutely amazed by the huge space. And Steve again absolutely nails the physical manifestation of trauma and being alone. This is incredible because he sees how huge the silo is and how they want to go up. I mean, that's a metaphor for both escaping the silo but also finding a way for Juliette to return to Silo 18 to let them know that it's all a lie. If that they do this, everyone's going to die. That's why she said 10,000 people. And what's really fascinating about this ending, we're seeing two very different types of isolation collide. Solo's been practically alone for years while Juliette's been emotionally isolated by the lies and manipulation in her silo. And now in this moment of connection, both start to heal. The big question is, what happened next? So next episode is going to be absolutely wild. My name is Christian from Being Premiere, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.